You've heard it on TikTok, you've heard it on Instagram, you've heard it on X, you've heard it from your friends or from lots of other people. Google search is dying. You've heard it from the news, everyone is saying it. Google search is dying. However, new research shows, and this is new as in 12 days ago, Google search grew 20% plus in 2024 and receives 373 times more searches than ChatGPT. Everyone says the AI tools are taking Google search's lunch. Google is done. I only use ChatGPT. You hear this from so many people. Maybe your friends, maybe you're one of these people to say it. I only use Claude now. I only use Perplexity now. Google search is done. And this new research says Google search grew 20% plus in 2024, receives 373 times more searches than ChatGPT. So this is a pretty long article showing how these findings were accomplished, how Rand Fishkin and his team at SparkToro, actually this was done with Semrush. So SparkToro, Rand Fishkin's company, did this with Semrush. And this whole article shares how they've got these findings, but I want to share just the biggest findings. That's what this episode of the podcast is. Episode 626 of The Edward Show is sharing these findings about not the death of Google search, but actually how well it is doing. Number one, Google search is growing. It's not shrinking. Searches on Google again grew over 21% in 2024, which is a huge leap for a product as mature as Google search. I mean, Google search is so mature, and searches on Google grew over 21% in 2024. So this growth directly contradicts the narrative that AI tools are eating into Google's dominance. Number two, Google absolutely dominates in search volume. In 2024, Google averaged 14 billion searches per day. ChatGPT had a max of 37.5 million search-like prompts per day. So that means Google gets around 373 times more searches than ChatGPT. I want to say that again. In 2024, now if you think that Google search is not a good channel to focus on, or if you're worried about doing SEO in 2025, in 2024, Google averaged 14 billion searches per day. ChatGPT, which is so far ahead of the rest of the tools. Like, you shouldn't even consider the market share of Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. ChatGPT is so far ahead in market share from all of them. And in 2024, ChatGPT had a max of 37.5 million search-like prompts per day compared to Google's 14 billion searches per day. Number three, AI tools are still niche players. And the research shows, despite the hype, only 30% of ChatGPT prompts resemble traditional search behavior. The remaining 70% are for non-search tasks like coding, summarizing, writing. Even combining all the major AI tools, their total search market share is estimated to be, less than 2%. Wow. Combining all the major AI tools, their total search market share is estimated to be less than 2%. Okay, there was an alarming thing with this research. However, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you will immediately know why, for someone like me, this is not alarming at all. But if you're doing traditional SEO, this is alarming. So click-through rates are dropping. Search isn't dropping, but click-through rates are dropping. AI overviews, and you may have seen them in the search engine results pages. You may have seen them when you do a search and AI summarizes the results. AI overviews reduce organic click-through rate by 70% and paid click-through rate by 12%. That's pretty crazy. Again, this hasn't hurt Google's total search volume, which continues to grow. And actually, one of the reasons why Google's total search volume continues to grow is because AI overviews make it easier to search. So it's actually likely that the increase in searches is correlated to AI overviews. However, it reduces click-through rate, organic click-through rate, by 70%, which is very high. Now, why am I not worried about this? I always advocate, again, if you're a listener to this show, you know what I'm going to say, but I always advocate not going after top-of-funnel keywords, but bottom-of-funnel keywords. What's the difference between top-of-funnel keywords and bottom-of-funnel keywords? Top of funnel keywords are answering just a question that a searcher might have. These are the type of questions you go to ChatGPT and ask. When was this president alive? Why is this person so famous? What is the meaning of this holiday? What is the recipe for this dish? It's questions like that. How do you increase your email open rates? By the way, the answer to that is use one-word subject lines. It makes a difference of 10 to 20% in open rates. Nobody knows that. But that's an example how to increase email open rates. That's an example of a top of funnel search. And traditional search targeted mostly these keywords because they got all the volume. They got not all the volume, but they got so much more volume than bottom of funnel. Bottom of funnel is you know what you want, but you don't know the brand that's going to give it to you. And you are searching on Google for your use case. So for example, maybe you are looking for a podcast marketing agency. So maybe you would search podcast marketing. Let's say you have an education podcast. You might search education podcast marketing agency, or you might just search podcast marketing agency. You don't know the agency, but you know what you want, and you're looking for someone who can give this to you. Something that I did is I needed a tool to embed my TikTok feed on my website. I Googled embed TikTok feed on website. I found a tool that offered this with an embed code. They targeted this keyword directly, which is how I found it. A keyword, if you don't know, is just what you put into a search engine when you are searching. So I Googled, my keyword was embed TikTok feed on website. I Googled this, a website targeted this keyword with a specific page. I said, this is great, this works great, but the company has its logo on my embed. I want to remove the logo. It just doesn't look as professional. And I want to customize the colors so that it matches my website. In order to do that, I have to pay $60 per year. That's a subscription fee. And I said, you know what? This works really well. The support answers really fast. This is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to just pay the $60. That's a bottom of funnel keyword. Now, the reason why the decrease in click-through rate isn't alarming if you're targeting bottom of funnel keywords, because if you search embed TikTok feed on website or podcast marketing agency or education podcast marketing agency, if you search that and there is a page, a website that targets this specific keyword, even if there is an AI overview, it's going to recommend the product that is targeting the keyword. And I show all the time on this show how my bottom of funnel SEO landing pages, where I target these bottom of funnel keywords, when you ask AI chatbots for recommendations as to these keywords, the AI chatbots recommend my products because my products target these bottom of funnel keywords. So in this use case, somebody isn't just looking to get an answer. They're actually looking to use something or purchase something. The AI overview is going to recommend your product, and you're still going to get the click and you're still going to get the conversion. But again, if you're just targeting a top of funnel keyword where someone is just looking to get an answer and then leave, that's not really going to be worth the resources putting in to make pages doing top of funnel SEO. That's not going to be worth the resources. So that's why someone like me, when I see AI overviews have reduced organic click-through rate by 70%, I'm like, oh, well, doesn't affect me. I'm only going after bottom of funnel keywords. And my data shows it, because since the launch of ChatGPT at the end of 2022, my clicks to my bottom of funnel SEO landing pages, they've actually only increased. So I haven't seen any of the AI chatbots take visibility away from my bottom of funnel SEO landing pages. However, with top of funnel pages, I have seen that. If you want to learn more about how to do bottom of funnel SEO, I have an entire SEO program on it. It's 10 hours long, plus 3.5 hours of bonuses at compactkeywords.com. The reason my shirt, if you are watching on YouTube, says backlinks don't matter, it's because with this form of SEO, bottom of funnel SEO, you need way less backlinks because so few people actually target bottom of funnel keywords. They are so much less competitive, even though they would make way more money and work with AI. Next finding from this study about how Google search is not dying: marketers should follow attention, not hype. And this is what it says. If your customers are still on Google, which they overwhelmingly are, that's where your SEO and content dollars should go. AI tools may be growing, but they are still tiny in comparison. Don't confuse media hype with user behavior. And so the article ends, the math is clear, it's supported by multiple sources. Google's numbers are public and cross-validated by third-party research. ChatGPT's usage data is based on OpenAI's own figures and detailed external analysis, and it's way less compared to Google search. So the overview of all of this, Google search, it's not only alive, it's thriving. Yeah, ChatGPT and other AI tools are growing, but they remain a tiny fraction of total search behavior. If you're betting your marketing strategy on where people actually search, Google still wins by a landslide. Target bottom of funnel keywords. They're not going anywhere. They're being recommended by AI. Works for Bing as well. I would say tone down content targeting top of funnel searches unless it's the type of search that really requires an in-depth answer where an AI overview or a ChatGPT query might not be good. Target keywords like that. But if somebody can just ask ChatGPT or the AI overview is going to take care of it, it's probably not great for you to target that keyword. It's just not a great use of your resources. Now, if you are repurposing content, for example, maybe you have a podcast and you just used a transcript for that podcast, and then you take a keyword that's related to that podcast and you put that as the page title and the H1 and the meta description, and you make that the first sentence of the article, and then the rest of it is a transcript from your podcast. I mean, that's fine because you're just repurposing content, and it's so little work to do that you should absolutely do that. Because if you don't, you're just leaving a lot of clicks on the table. But if you are thinking about making a 3,000 word article targeting a top of funnel keyword, my advice is that is a waste of resources. And as AI overviews increase in the future, ChatGPT as well, those clicks or that visibility is just going to go to AI. The AI may even train off your 3,000 word article. It's really an unfortunate consequence of these AI tools is that it just doesn't make sense for publishers to put out guides on how to do things or answering questions in depth unless the publishers have an existing market who is going to see that content regardless of search. But actually writing that stuff for search, it doesn't make sense anymore. Now, it is okay for the AI chatbots because they can still train off video, they can train off podcasts. There's tons of places that they can train off of. And lots of people who would typically make those top of funnel articles, instead, maybe they would do it with a podcast, similar to how I'm doing it here. But actually writing up a page from scratch just to target a top of funnel keyword, not a good use of resources. If you want to learn more about bottom of funnel SEO, compactkeywords.com. And that is all for episode 626 of my daily digital marketing show, 626 days in a row doing this podcast. I started it 626 days ago, and we are on episode 626. Thank you so much for watching. If you watched on YouTube, if you listened on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.